Welcome to the deep dive. It's actually quite something. 94% of executives, they say internal complexity, not, the competition, is their biggest hurdle to growth.
Yeah, think about that. It means we're often the bottleneck.
Exactly. So today we're diving into this idea, this kind of counter philosophy you see with leaders like Jack Dorsey. He famously said, it's really complex to make something simple.
Right. And what we really want to explore here is this concept of strategic subtraction, how intentionally removing things is actually key for sustainable growth.
Okay.
So our mission really is to look at how it works, what the challenges are, and maybe where it's headed, especially with things like, well, AI.
Okay, so that statistic, the 94%, it brings Dorsey right to mind. How does his approach, this Dorsey doctrine, actually tackle that internal complexity problem? What's the core of it?
Well, the core belief is, it sounds simple, but it's really hard to do. Make every detail perfect and limit the number of details to perfect.
Limit the number of details.
Yeah. It basically means ruthless prioritization. Saying no, actually, to most ideas so you can really nail the few great ones. It's about finding clarity, through constraint.
That feels so different from the usual add more features mindset in business. How did that play out with Square, for example?
Oh, Square is a perfect example. The whole origin story is right there. Dorsey's friend, an artist, lost a big sale, like $2,000, because he couldn't take credit cards.
Oh, okay.
And the payments industry back then was just a fortress of complexity, really. Square's approach was radically simple. One flat fee, 2.75%. Setup was instant, and this free little reader you just plugged into your phone.
Right, into the headphone jack, wasn't it?
Exactly. It completely opened up the digital economy. It wasn't just about making it easier. It removed huge barriers for like 26 million businesses that were totally underserved.
Wow. And speaking of constraints, what about Twitter? That famous 140-character limit. Was that embraced, or did it just feel limiting at first?
It was definitely a conscious design choice. The idea was that constraint actually inspires creativity.
Okay.
It forced this whole new way of communicating. But, and this is interesting, as Twitter scaled, that same simplicity kind of led to a new problem, emergent complexity, like information overload.
Ah, right. Too much simplicity in one area creates complexity elsewhere.
Exactly. So they had to adapt, introduce things like moments. It shows simplification isn't, a one-off fix. It's a continuous thing.
That's a really important point. It reminds me of that agile principle, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done.
Yes, that's a great connection.
So real productivity isn't about doing more. It's about not doing the unnecessary stuff, like gold plating features you don't really need or building for some hypothetical future.
Right. Every feature, every line of code, it's an asset, sure, but it's also a liability you have to maintain.
It needs feeding and cleaning up, like you said about pets earlier.
Sort of. And this ties into the minimum viable product, the MVP. That's simplicity in action.
Right, the MVP.
It's not about shipping something unfinished. It's about releasing just enough core function to get it to early users and, crucially, generate validated learning.
Like Dropbox just starting with a demo video.
Exactly like that. It simplifies the risk. You learn what people actually want before you, go all in building the wrong thing.
Okay, so that covers product and process simplicity. But what about when the organization itself grows? That adds complexity, right? How do you stay agile?
Oh, absolutely. Scaling people in teams, that creates complexity exponentially. It's a huge challenge.
So what do companies do?
Well, you see models like the Spotify model. It's this interesting attempt to design the organization for agility, using small autonomous teams called squads, maybe 6 to 12 people.
Okay, squads.
And then these squads are grouped into tribes. The whole idea is to sort of distribute decision-making and keep that focus, even at scale.
Let's maybe contrast two examples here, like Aldi versus MySpace.
Perfect contrast. Aldi is just a masterclass in simplicity for value, isn't it?
Totally. Very limited product range. What is it, like 1,700 items versus 30,000 in a normal supermarket?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And almost all private label, super efficient operations products in cartons, the coin for the cart.
Right, the cart deposit.
It all adds up to low prices and huge scale. Then you look at MySpace.
Oh boy, MySpace.
It just collapsed, really, under the weight of its own complexity. Feature bloat, the user experience was chaotic, massive technical debt.
Yeah, taking shortcuts that bite you later.
Exactly. It's a classic case of complexity just becoming fatal.
But, okay, this raises a critical point. Can you simplify too much? Is there such a thing as, like, bad simplicity.
Oh, definitely. That's a really important warning. Simplifying too much can backfire. It might alienate your expert users who need certain complexities, or it can, trivialize really complex problems.
Like the blame and train response.
Exactly. Just blaming individuals instead of looking at the system. The real goal isn't just simplicity for its own sake. It's finding the simplest product that effectively solves the user's problem.
So there's a balance.
There is. And it leads to this crucial distinction. You want to simplify the artifact, the product, the process, but you need to embrace the complexity of the system it operates in.
Okay. Don't oversimplify your understanding of the whole picture, like that Ericsson example you mentioned.
Precisely. Ericsson simplified their supply chain view too much. They missed a critical dependency, a single point of failure with one supplier, because they didn't grasp the interconnected complexity of the system. That kind of oversimplification, potentially catastrophic.
Right. Okay, final area, AI. We hear about AI as the ultimate simplifier, right? Automating tasks, giving insights.
It certainly is. For operational stuff, it can automate, analyze data, speed up development. Huge simplification potential there.
But, since but.
Well, the but is that AI also introduces these new, more abstract kinds of complexity.
Like the black box problem.
Exactly. Not knowing why the AI reached a decision. That creates issues for trust, for accountability, and data biases hidden within the AI. That's another layer of hidden complexity.
So AI simplifies the surface, but hides complexity underneath, like an abstraction layer.
That's a great way to put it. It's an abstraction layer.
So for leaders, for all of us really, the skill now isn't just knowing the process, but understanding that AI abstraction layer, knowing when to trust the simplified output, and crucially, when to question it and dig deeper.
Absolutely. That's the new leadership challenge, I think.
Okay, so let's wrap this up.
To recap, simplification. It's not just about cutting things out randomly. It's a really critical, sophisticated strategic discipline. It's about sustainable scale, driven by that idea of strategic subtraction, intense focus.
Right. So in a world that's always shouting, add more, maybe the ability to subtract, to simplify, is actually the most valuable skill. It's not about making things easy, necessarily, but making them clear.
Well said.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. What could you subtract in your work or even your life to gain a bit more clarity and focus? Definitely something to mull over. Join us next time for another deep dive.